This video is sponsored by Amalena Children's Haven.
So my name is Portia and I run a transport company. I have almost 4-year-old boy, sweet handsome boy. After I got married, my husband and I decided, okay, we're going to wait for some time to start babies. And then I think after 3 years, okay, we decided this is the time. And then guess what? The baby was not coming. So we were trying, and every month I'll really hope, I am missing my period. And then boom, here it is. And the disappointment and everything. So anyway, at that time we were not in Ghana. So I planned on coming to Ghana to, start with herbal medicine, because prior to that, I was diagnosed of fibroids, but it was really tiny, they couldn't take it out. So I told my husband, okay, why don't I come to Ghana and, try herbal medicine? And he was like, yeah, that's a good idea, you should go. So we planned, and then, when I plan to buy the ticket, something keeps holding me back. Something keeps holding me back, like, wait. And then I started having some cramps and, sore nipples and all of that. I'm like, damn, my period is about coming again. Anyway, let me just wait. After that, I'll just get a ticket. And then it kept on. My husband kept on pushing. Now buy the tickets. I'm like, hold on, wait. But something kept on telling me, just wait, don't buy it yet. And then after a couple of days, because yes, one thing is I'm never late with my period. So this time it was late. I'm like, could it be, or maybe it's just one of those months. And then after 2 days, I guess, I bought the test kits. In the morning, I woke up very early in the morning. I went to the bathroom, peed on the steak, and woo, 2 lines. I was so excited. At that time, my husband was sleeping, so I couldn't even, wait to even tell him. I just went straight to the bedroom, like, hey, wake up, Shay, I didn't know. And he was sleeping. He's like, huh? I'm sleeping. I'm like, look. And then he saw it. I'm like, oh, you're pregnant. But of course, I didn't expect that reaction from him. He was like, kind of surprised like that. Everything. My husband treated me like a baby, pampering, like, there was a time we went to visit one of our friends, and as I was climbing the stairs, I nearly fell. The way this man rushed and just, held me like, I think they your own shuffle. And I'm like, oh, okay. So the pampering, like, everywhere. And I had, at that time, one of my friends lived close to us. She would, cook and call me, Portia, come and eat. I cook this and that. But my first 3 months, I don't throw up, or I didn't throw up, but then I was just feeling nauseous. It felt like something is stuck in my throat here. It's not going down, and a little bit bitter taste in my mouth. But after the first trimester, the second was perfect. The last trimester was the worst of it all. My stomach was really big. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't sleep. I can't do anything, just like a big whale. And well, yes, I have, during my second trimester, I think I was around 20 weeks at that time, I woke up to this sharp pain in my abdomen. It comes and goes. So I went to the hospital to see my doctor that day. And then he checked me and he was like, "Oh, I don't think you really have a problem. Maybe it's just one of those things." So he just gave me painkiller and he says, "Okay, just go home and rest." No, he said like, "You're fine." So that day I went to work, and when I was at work, I was not really feeling very good. So I called him back. I'm like, "I'm not really feeling good." And he's like, "Okay, come in." I went in and he checked, and then I started dilating. So like he kind of freaked out and was like, "No, this is really, you're only 20 weeks. So we need to do something as soon as possible." So he had to put me on medication from 20 weeks to my 9th month until I gave birth. But then the medication also had its side effects. So anytime I take it, it's like I'm out of breath. I cannot breathe properly. And I go back, I tell him, it's like, you just have to cope. My due date was October 31st, 2016. And I was just praying to God, I don't want that baby to come on that day because it's Halloween. And I don't want to be shopping for birthdays and then you see, this mask, ghost, Halloween, themes and all that. So I'm like, God, please, I don't need this baby on that. And I'm a November born, so I'm like, I really want this baby to come in November, not October. And yeah, so 31st October was on a Monday. So on a Sunday, my husband and I went just for groceries. And I think on our way back, I started feeling a little bit of cramps, but it wasn't too intense, so I just ignored. And then during the night, I woke up and I saw blood. So once I saw blood, I kind of freaked out, like, what the hell is wrong with me? So, and of course, I wasn't in Ghana at that time, so I had no family to talk to at that time. So I had to take a picture and send it to one of my aunties. I'm like, "See, what is it? Well, like, what is this?" And she's like, "Go to the hospital as soon as possible." So I'm like, I don't know. I don't think this is labor because I was not feeling any pain at that time. So anyway, I just ignored and I slept. So when I slept, I think around 3 or 4 a.m., I woke up and then this time I was actually bleeding. So then I told my husband about it. "See, I'm bleeding, so I think we should go to the hospital." We went to the hospital and the doctor checked me. My water hadn't broken at that time. He checked and he was like, "You are only 1.5 centimeters dilated, so you should go back home." And when he saw me, because we called them like, "Okay, this is it." And they asked us to come in and of course bring our bags and everything. So once the doctor saw my face, he's like, "You are not in labor. Go back home." I'm like, "Just check me." And he was like, "Okay, just lie down." He checked, we know 1.5 centimeters, so go back home. I'm like, "Okay, no problem." But prior to that, I was walking every day from my 7th month until my 9th month. I was walking every day because I always, wanted to have my baby quickly, but just not on October 31st. So I was just walking. So when I got back home, I started walking again. I went for like a 2-hour walk. Then this time the pain got intense. It was really intense. And then we called. He's like, "Okay, come in." I went in and then he checked again and he's like, "You are still 1.5 centimeters. There's no way we can admit you now. You have to still go home." I went back home and then I slept. So yes, I think that was where it ended on that day. Then on I think on Monday evening, that is Tuesday dawn, I was sleeping. I couldn't even sleep at all that night. and I was timing it, and this time it was like 5 minutes apart, and I was just in crazy pain. So I called them. I'm like, see, I cannot continue this pain. Please do something about it. If I'm not in labor, just give me something. Let's just let the pain vanish. They asked me to come back in. When I went back in, this time I have dilated 2 centimeters. I'm like, what? Only 2? I have 8 more to go. No. And they were, okay, we're going to monitor you. So they put the belt around my tummy, and then they were checking for the heartbeat. The heartbeat, it was really normal. So there's like, okay, but and yes, the funny thing is the ones that check for the contractions, where the contraction goes up high on the monitor, I don't feel any pain. Where the contraction goes like down, that let's say the contraction has to reduce, that is when I scream. So they're like, what's wrong with you? What is happening? I don't know, but I'm in pain. Just do something about it. So yes, the doctor now checked and it's like, I don't think you can go on with this anymore because you are not getting anywhere close to labor. It's delaying, and we have to go with forced strip, which I prayed not to have. And then he's like, even with a forced strip, you need to dilate until 4 centimeters. Then we can start with that. So with this, I don't think you can do it. And besides that, you are putting your baby at risk. So let's just go for a cesarean section. I'm like, take me. They prepped me, everything. I signed, my husband signed, okay, and everything. And the funny thing is, about, let's say, an hour or let's say 30 minutes before the surgery begins, the pain just vanished. I couldn't feel any pain again. But of course, the doctor was like, your baby's heart rate might drop, so let's just go in for this. So, okay, we went in and we signed everything. I was wheeled to the theater. And she just touched my shoulder and she said, do you feel my hand? Do you feel my touch? I'm like, no. Then she touched my cheeks. Do you feel anything? I said no. Then she had this weird look on her face. So I'm like, why? What? And I read that, okay, I'm just going to feel numb my waist down. So me feeling numb on my face and everything, and the weird look at all, just, I'm like, what is happening? So I asked her, is everything okay? She's like, yeah, you're fine, it's okay, no problem. I'm like, okay, let's do this. Then once they started, I just felt like I want to sleep. I just want to sleep. So I told her, I want to sleep. Is that normal? And she said, yes, sleep. It's okay. Then I screamed, like, you guys are going to kill me if I sleep. And they all started laughing, like, what's wrong with you? We're not going to do. I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking, but to everything, it kind of looked weird. I always told my husband, listen, you have to be in that labor ward with me. I cannot be there alone. You have to, especially, it's going to be a surgery. So I need you. I need my support system. It's like, yeah, I got you. It's okay. It's fine. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, let's do this. And we got to, yes, before that, they asked him to wait outside. So they gave me the injection. They gave me the epidural, all at my back. I took about 10 injections at my back. I don't know what it was anyway. Then the final one was the epidural. They just put it on my waist and like, do you feel anything cold in your legs? I'm like, yes. And said, okay, let's start now. They called my husband back in. Okay, we're about to start. And so my husband was next to me. And then the anesthesiologist was also next to me. So she was actually talking to me. And then she's like, all of a sudden, my husband was like, please, somebody help me. Please take the phone and take the video. I can't. No, please. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? I felt betrayed. Like, you promised me you're going to be here with me. Once they cut me, he just ran away. Can you imagine? He just ran out of the room and just gave the phone to somebody, to one of the nurses, to take the video. So then I was just left alone. So then later I just was like, God, please, I'm not going to die on this table. Just take me out. I need me and my baby alive. That's it. And the surgery started at 12:50. The doctor took only 7 minutes to actually cut me, take the baby out, stitch back. It was just like that fast. So at 12:57, the baby was out and he was not crying. My baby was really, really white, like fair. But when he came out, he was looking very dark and his eyes were just like an alien, like looking straight, like upwards like that. And then I'm like, why is my baby not crying? And so they actually had to spank his back and he, but it wasn't really too much. And I'm like, I got really scared. I'm like, what is really happening? They're like, no, it's fine. He's okay. He's just tired. That's it. Because I was in labor for about 48 hours. So he's just tired. It's okay. And then he's like, they brought him to me, just showed him to me, and then just took him back to clean him up. Then my husband came in. I'm like, dude, are you serious? After the baby is here, you're not coming to do what? I was really angry, but I kept it on the low. Then I don't know how it happened. I just slept. I don't know how because I was really tired. I didn't take even one, not even a nap the whole night. So I was really tired. I just fell asleep. But I could hear them talking and all that. So later, they wheeled me back to my room and I was sleeping. After about 30 minutes, I had this crazy pain on my neck. And I told my husband, it's like my neck, and he's like, okay, I'm going to call the doctor. So he called the doctor and the doctor came in. It's like, oh, it's okay. It's just a sign of a successful surgery. The medicine is wearing off. Like, okay. And then, it started wearing off. But when it got close to my tummy area, I cannot explain that pain. I couldn't explain it. And then the nurses came and, started pressing my tummy because they said they want to make sure all the blood is out. And I was really begging them, please stop, you're hurting me, please. And they were like, just endure, you're going to be fine. And the pain, oh my God, the pain. So my husband asked them, why is she in so much pain? And they told him, oh, it's because of her fibroids. And the funny thing is, when they just cut me open, they told me, oh, your fibroid is so big. But I don't know why the doctor didn't take it out. I don't know why. Because he went there, I think, just take it out. But later I asked him and he said, oh, because you didn't sign for it. I kind of understand him, he's right. So they told my husband it's because of my fibroids was contracting with my uterus. So that's why I'm in so much pain. So my husband was like, just do something about it. She's in pain. And according to my husband, I don't remember I said this, but he said, I told him, see, please take care of my baby for me. I might not make it. Take care of him. So he actually freaked out, was really worried, and was giving them pressure. Do something about her pain. I don't remember saying that, but he said I did. I was in tears. I was crying. And I remember I sang this song there. Oh no, kwa for J. Yeah, and I was just in tears. My husband was in tears. We didn't know what was it. So they told me, okay, we're going to give you a pain pill. They're going to put it through the IV. But it has to be at 4 o'clock after all the epidural has worn off. And I looked at the time and it was 3 o'clock. I have an hour to endure this pain. I'm like, see, I cannot do this. I can't. Please help me, please. So I think after 30 minutes, I was just screaming, and they just came and gave me the IV. It worked like magic. Once it just went inside, I just passed out. And that was it. So that was my labors. We were not in Ghana at that time, so I stayed in the hospital for long. Their policy over there was when you have a CS, you have to stay in the hospital for 8 days. No more delivery, you stay in the hospital for 5 days. So I think it was actually okay for me in a sense that at that time, I had not healed completely. So even walking, it took me 2 days. It was like I am starting to walk like freshly. Everything was really difficult. Sometimes even, breastfeeding my baby at the hospital, because the hospital told me no formula there. You must give breast milk. If you go home, you want to give your formula, it's okay. But once you're in the hospital, you must give only breast milk. And anytime my baby is sucking on the breast, I have pain, like on the incision, in my surgery, in my tummy, like everywhere. I would be crying. So I was a little bit glad I stayed in the hospital for them to take care of the baby, because they come for him, give him a shower, and then they take care of him. Sometimes I can decide, they have the policy, like you can decide not to sleep with your baby. They're going to take care of him. When he needs breast milk, then they bring him to you. So when we got home, my husband actually came a day before me coming home. I was so excited because I was done with the hospital. I didn't want to stay in the hospital anymore. When we got home, that was when I really felt what motherhood is. It wasn't a joke. My husband had to go to work. I had no one to help me take care of the baby. I had surgery. I was in pain the whole time. When baby, and my son was not a sleeping baby. He never sleeps. It's like he was watching time. Exactly 2 hours, he just wakes up. It's like, time has to say me sorry, and I know what's your time. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And it was really tough. I actually had postpartum depression. It got to a time I just didn't want. I'm like, what have I gotten myself into? Why am I not happy? Like, at a point in time, I kind of regretted having a kid. Yes, at the point, because I would wake up in the morning, cry my whole eyes out, wouldn't eat. I lost so much weight. I didn't know what it was, and I couldn't talk to my husband because my husband had a very, very strong bond with my son. So even if he comes home and the baby is crying, why is he crying? Do this. So it was like pressure from the baby, pressure from my husband. I didn't have anybody to talk. And at that time, I didn't even know what it was for me to even talk to people, because at that time, I felt people are going to judge me. One, I have failed as a mother. And people are going to feel like, oh, you don't care about your kid and all those kind of stuff. And sometimes for me to even get up and feed him is a problem. Me getting up from bed would be like from skills. I would have to cross my leg like this, because if I go up like that, my tummy hurts. So I have my tricks and way to get up. And then after anytime I put him on the breast, it hurts. It hurts. I will be crying every day. But yeah, gradually, I think I got used to, but my only solution was just prayer. I was just praying, please God, take me out of it. So after I actually got out of it, but I always say my husband was so helpful, because if he's home, then I'm okay. But if once he goes to work, anytime, it's on a Monday, he's going to go to work. I'm like, oh, Jesus, what am I going to do? What am I going to? Then I get into that depressed mood. But once he comes back, sometimes I even go a whole day without taking a shower. Because once you put him down, anything I do, he cries. And as a new mom, of course, I didn't know what I was doing, whether I'm doing the right thing or not. He cries, so I would have to, pick him up, cook, clean him. Like, he always has to be with me. He hates to sleep by himself. So sometimes when my husband gets back from work, then I would take shower. That was the routine. So it wasn't easy, but then it was worth it. Mine was like probably about 1,000 times. My son and his head, like they are enemies. Boom, 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 always hitting something, Sometimes I wonder, is everything all right in there? Like, sometimes I wonder, be our brains maybe a shifty pokakra, because always even like, just I think, let's say about 2 months ago, he actually hit his head and I had blood everywhere. Yes, I had to rush him to the hospital. He came to my room. He put his Thomas train on my bed. So we were playing. He was really happy, jumping. And then he was laughing. So he just went back like this. And his head hit the tip of the train. So it just, and then the blood was just a splash around the room. I freaked out. I thought I had seen it all at that time. But then, And he cried just like 2 seconds. And that was it. So I'm like, are you okay? Because I was really scared. So I had to rush him to the hospital. But thank God it wasn't a deep cut. So, but for the kumkum, it's the scary moment. Oh my God. The scary moments are, so many. I quite remember when he was around 5 months, he had a fever. And I took him to the hospital. And they checked him for virus infection and all that, but it came out, negative. So the doctor was like, he doesn't even think it's a viral infection, so the fever might go down on its own. But when we came home in the evening, it went up really, really high. And then we actually went to another hospital. This doctor didn't even examine him. Once he checked his temperature, it was high. And then he held him. I think my son was a bit weak. So he's like, you have to rush him to the children's hospital ASAP. Don't go anywhere. So we're like, okay, then call an ambulance for us. He's like, no, just drive. Just go straight, Don't pass anywhere. Don't go anywhere to buy water or something. This is a matter of life and death. Just drive straight to the hospital. Come and see me. Hey, me bani bewu. And then, so once we sat in the car, my husband is like, we are not going to the hospital. Yeah, he said something. He said he suspects something with his intestines or something. It was really scary. So he gave us a note to take to the children's hospital. And then once we sat in the car, my husband was like, we are not going anywhere. I'm like, Jama Bibi Jojo, we are not going anywhere. He's like, no, we are not going anywhere. We are going straight home. And I'm going to say, no, do you understand what is wrong with him? He's like, I know, but there's nothing going to happen. Let's go home and pray. I'm like, let's go home and pray, Sissing. Debbie, please don't try me. Please, I beg you, don't try me. Please, let's go. He's like, I am driving the car. We are not going anywhere. There is nothing wrong with him. We are going home and we're going to pray at home. And such thing coming from him was kind of weird because I am usually the praying type. So I'm like, do you know what you're talking about? And he actually is the type, go to hospital, do this, get checked, do that. So this time he's saying this, I'm like, are you okay? Debbie, Mpacho, please, me pray upon me woman, yenko hospital. Or say, menko. So like actually when he was driving, we were actually arguing in the car. I'm like, faha or se menfa, mefaha, faha. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Anyway, we got to the house. This boy was asleep in the car. Like, I think before we got to the house, that was when he slept. And he's like, okay, just let's go inside. I'm going to pray. I believe he's my son. He carries my blood. Whatever I say to God, he is going to listen. He would do it for him. And I'm like, okay, God, please don't let my son die. Please, I beg you. So we went inside. We went to the room. He laid his finger on him. He prayed like 2 seconds, bimbo. And then he's like, it's okay. You can go to sleep. It's fine. There's nothing going to like wake him up. He will be fine. He's like, do you expect me to sleep in this condition? Hey, I was just sitting down. God, please do something about it. In less than 5 minutes, my son's temperature vanished. I'm telling you, it just vanished. How it happened, no medication, nothing. It just vanished. That was when I realized, faith, very important. And that's where we are now. Yeah, no issues with that. As he was growing up, I realized he's not talking. And when he turned to like 18 months, he's not talking. He would just say a few words. Not even words, just one word. Baji. I'm like, what's the meaning of it? I don't know. Anyway, so he's like, And then I told my husband, he's like, dear, you are too negative. I'm like, really? Okay. I told my auntie, I'm like, what is really happening? And he's like, so in Kwalabi one crash, 2-3 years cry, and I say, wait, you need money time or bekasa. Okay. 2 years. This boy is not talking. Then I realized, okay, now everybody is getting worried. My husband is getting worried. Everyone is getting worried. What is really happening? And then, at that time, he was going to crèche. So, but then my husband always says, because at that time, we were in a non-English speaking country. So he's like, the languages are too many for him. And he, like, we speak Tree to him or English to him. He goes to school, they speak something else to him and all of that. So just give him time. Give him time. He will understand. He would speak. Like, okay. I just went. Then, after some time, he's like, this boy is not talking. But then we realize if you say something to him, he understands what you're saying, but he cannot say it back to you. Then I'll sometimes be in my room, lock myself up, pray and cry. God. Well, I think one time my husband saw me crying. He didn't know what I was crying. He asked me, why? What is wrong? I'm like, it's okay, fine. He's like, hey, oh no. He sometimes makes fun of me. Like something really like delicate. Oh dear, Bibia, why you worried? Okay, whatever. And then after some time, he started saying numbers. He started saying numbers. He started saying alphabets. He started saying colors, shapes. Like, my son is a very smart boy. Very. Because stuff that I didn't expect him to even know, he knew all of it. He would say everything. Ask him, Kobe, are you hungry? He would just look at you like this. Ask him, how are you? He would just look at you like that, like nothing. He would not say anything. So this time, I'm like, what is really happening? So, a few months before he would turn 3, I took him to his pediatrician, and I told him, my son is not really talking that much. He understands now. He understands everything you say, but he's not talking. And he's like, he just looked at my face because anyway, he's the one who's been taking care of him ever since he was born. So he's like, don't worry, there's nothing wrong with him. He will talk. And also, don't, speak for him. Let's say if he's hungry, don't offer him food. Let him say it by himself. I'm like, how can I do this? I know this boy is hungry. He's not going to say it, obviously. But he's like, just try. There is nothing, I'm not even going to evaluate him. He's okay. There is nothing wrong with him. And then I'm like, it's not easy. So, the doctor also told me, you guys speak so many languages at home. Just give him time. He will be okay. And usually, first babies don't talk like as you expect them to talk. They have to have kids around for them to be able to express themselves very well. And of course, we had no kid around, nothing. So obviously, it's going to take him time. I'm like, okay. Then we moved to Ghana. When we came to Ghana, okay, it got better, but not really better. But then, ever since I have actually my nephews with me. Of course, they are a little bit older than him, but now, he's not really talking like that, like, asking questions, and he will be 4 in November, but he's not asking questions like so many questions. But then, anything you ask him, he's going to answer you. Are you hungry? Yes, mommy. Do you want this? Yes, mommy. He's going to answer you everything. He even speaks Tree, like, Okatri waha. So always, my cousins, my sisters, they always laugh at him like, they'll Tree dear. So, it's like very difficult to have a speech delay child. And also the school he used to go before, they were putting so much pressure on me. And, they will be like, he's the only one who is not talking in class. He's the only one who is not talking in class. And I'm like, so what do you want me to do? Do you want me to withdraw him? They're like, no, it's not that, but we're just telling you, but don't worry, it will be fine. They will just tell me. And then once I start being so paranoid, they'll be like, it's okay. So why then do you tell me then? And then I realized he was not happy in that school because he had no friends and he was just not happy there because I guess he didn't understand the language very well. So he just goes and just sit quietly like this until he comes back. But once he comes back home, it's like he was in prison. Like he touched everything, blah, 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 climbing, doing that. Yes, but... So it got to a time I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to withdraw him from school. Just withdraw him from school. Let him just be left with 2 languages. And then let's see how we go. It got better, but of course, when we came back home, it's perfect. Perfect now. I think the most difficult is when your baby is crying and you don't know what is wrong with him. That is so frustrating. You just cannot figure it out what is wrong. So it's all, for me, it all ended in tears anyway. Because as he's crying, I'm also crying. And then I'll pay. I have fed you. I have cleaned you up. Then beam now pay. So yeah, that's it. The most difficult, of course. I think is not knowing of course, what really is wrong. So yeah, it still comes back to speech delay. If your kid can communicate with you, it's really, really nice. But then if they cannot really tell you what it is, only God can help. Oh, Charlie. Motherhood, eh? I always say I pray every woman experiences. It's the most difficult job. The most difficult job ever. But it's the most beautiful experience ever. Cause it's motherhood changes you. It does. The way you look at things before having babies is different from the way you look at things after baby. So motherhood is a very beautiful experience. It's so fulfilling, especially, when your child can actually recognize you, like, oh, that mama gave birth to me, you know what I'm talking about? And, when he smiles back at you or he doesn't want to go to anybody else apart from you, you feel so special, like, apart from you cannot do anything in this life. Well, apart from God anyway. Yes, you cannot do anything. But then motherhood, yeah, I used to be very, very quick-tempered. Very quick-tempered. Before having my kid. But now, before the crowd, they call it or not, like, and funny home. Then I'll be home. Yes. So it really changes you a lot. It really makes you appreciate little things. Yeah. The bringing baby back here, I was really happy, to be honest. I didn't care about all the advantages I was getting over there. All that I wanted is my son to be around people. Because in 2018, my father-in-law died, so we had to come for the funeral. And my son, like, he would not go to anybody apart from me or his dad. So he's not used to people at all. He just saw just the two of us at home. So especially, I quite remember when the first day we got to Ghana, at my husband's family house, we went there and, all the family were there. Immediately he saw many people. He started crying, like, screaming and crying. We just had to go there, like, just go home ASAP. So he was kind of, I don't know if he was shy or scared of people. I didn't know what it was. So I was just happy. Like, I want him to experience life back home. I want him to be sociable. I want him to go to everybody. Yes, that was it. For the schooling aspect, he's not started school yet because of Mama C. Yes, but then it's difficult sometimes because now it's getting better. But before, when we came, when the light goes off, mommy, he's never seen sun before, so I will be like, what is really happening to him? And people will be like, oh, sorry, I had a light off. My family members will be like, I had a light off, Anna. Yeah, they will until the light. So when the light goes off, he's always cringing to me, like he's really scared, shaking and all that. But then after it comes back, he's back to normal. But now, come on, he's very friendly. He goes to everybody. So I think my aim has been achieved. I'm fulfilled. You really need support system. You cannot do it all alone. I always, say I really respect single mothers so much. Dealing with issues during pregnancy. In my case, I had fibroids. I went into, labor at 5 months. Yes. But then the pain I went through, it got to a time, even when I am driving, I'm scared I might lose my baby. If, any little thing I do or any appointment that I go, I am scared they might tell me they cannot find baby's heartbeat because my fibroid was in my uterus. And when you see the scan, the fibroid grew so big. The baby was also here. And even the doctor was like, let's just pray the fibroid don't grow bigger than the baby.
This video was brought to you by Amalena Children's Haven, where every mother shops.